Do you recall me talking about the $1,400 makeup payment only for Social Security beneficiaries as introduced by the Senior Citizens League? It's a really good proposal. I really like that. I like what they're talking about there. However, to be fair, the $1,400, which would be really good and very helpful, is not actually enough and certainly not satisfactory for me, and I know for a lot of you in this community. Therefore, that is where this document comes in, suggesting $2,000 to $2,500 in the form of this makeup payment only for Social Security beneficiaries. And I want you to see the details of this right here, and I would love to hear your feedback down below in the comment section. I'm going to bring my wife, Corey, in just a minute. She's going to read the details of this document to you, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to talk about the details a little bit further. But the Senior Citizens League, again, remember, last year, 2025, in fact, I just had a video out talking about this a couple weeks ago, as those of you in this community have been reaching out saying, hey, whatever happened to that $1,400? Is it coming? When are we going to get it? I really need that. And I agree. That's the kind of the situation, is that we need this money so badly, but every single day, every single week, every single month, and every single year that goes by, the cost of living and life expenditures, because prices continue to rise on virtually everything, keeps getting away from us. Therefore, the $1,400 that the Senior Citizens League originally proposed last year isn't really good enough anymore, right? It's cutting too much into the benefit checks of beneficiaries. It's not really covering what beneficiaries actually need. And again, that's where the $2,000 to $2,500 comes in. So with that being said, let's bring Corey in right here, right now. She's going to read this. It only takes like 2 minutes or something like that. She's going to read this, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to discuss these details a little bit further, and I'd love to hear your feedback. All right, anyway, here's Corey. She will read this, and I'll catch you again in just a couple minutes.
To the Honorable United States Congress, thank you for allowing us to bring this matter to your attention. We are an advocacy group representing over 534,000 Social Security beneficiaries of all types. As you are well aware, we are in an extreme affordability crisis for certain segments of our population, especially the low and fixed income. In 2025, the Senior Citizens League introduced a proposal to send Social Security beneficiaries a dedicated $1,400 makeup payment to account for the lackluster COLA increases over the past few years. Unfortunately, and unsurprisingly, lawmakers did nothing to address this significant issue. The affordability crisis has widened and deepened, pulling more vulnerable beneficiaries into the doom loop vortex. With this being said, we are reaching out to you again to encourage you to provide a one-time makeup payment only to Social Security beneficiaries in the amount of between $2,000 and $2,500. This payment should be paid above and beyond beneficiaries' regular monthly benefit, and also paid as soon as possible before it's too late. Lastly, we recommend this special payment to be made out of general federal fund and not to sacrifice the longevity solvency of the Social Security Trust Fund. We would like to remind you once again, the midterm elections are only months away. Your largest voting cohort is struggling beyond imagine. Ignoring these calls for assistance will certainly be remembered at the ballot box. We encourage you to do what you know is right. Provide necessary relief to the most vulnerable citizens of our country. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
All right, now there's that document, and yes, I did draft that letter, but I basically took the proposal out of the Senior Citizens League from last year, indicating a $1,400 makeup payment, and I replaced some of the numbers and gave them further ideas on how we could actually implement this without sacrificing the Social Security Trust Fund and the insolvency situation that we know is coming in just a matter of years. Well, as you heard right here, I basically said, hey, how about $2,000 to $2,500? Because that's literally where we're at right now, is that beneficiaries have fallen behind during this year of affordability. Beneficiaries have fallen behind so very much that we've got a major crisis on our hands. And again, I also ended it here as well, talking about, hey, we have the midterm election coming up. This is the largest voting cohort. Are you going to basically stiff these individuals going into the midterm election? Because we're certainly going to remember this. I mean, what is their plan here, right? What is their freaking plan? Because it seems like they've got no plan And that's not a good idea. But anyway, a couple key takeaways out of this that I want to pull out super fast here is I basically said, hey, let's pay this money out of the general federal fund versus potentially sacrificing the insolvency situation that we have coming up within Social Security in just a matter of years, rather than pulling out $2,000 to $2,500 per beneficiary and sending that money out, which would honestly cost a lot of money. Let's just make sure that we're keeping that money in the trust fund, and we're sending this money out of federal general funds, which is literally like a huge slush fund of money that basically has an endless pile of money available to it. Let's pay it to the beneficiaries through there. And then guess what as well? This would be massively stimulative to the overall economy, because is that money going to be just saved and used at some point in the future? It may be, but for the bulk of beneficiaries, they're going to use this to do things like pay for all the different things that they haven't been able to buy over the years, like food and shelter, and maybe pay for insurance or medical bills that they've been deferring, maybe pay for utilities, whatever it happens to be. Point being is that this would be very stimulative to the overall economy, because the bulk of that money is going to be spent very, very, very quickly from all of these individuals who need the money and have needed it in a massive way over the last several years, and finally maybe using this to maybe catch up with a couple different things, or maybe to pay down some bills or some debts that have unfortunately racked up over the last couple of years during this situation where, again, we recognize the COLA continues to fall behind massively every single year, and these beneficiaries are having a really, really tough time. And again, I continue to hammer on that because I feel like we've got to exploit what we're dealing with right now, which is the affordability crisis. They all recognize this. They know this is a real thing, and we all know this is a real thing. It's not like some made-up fantasy like, oh, the affordability thing, that's fake. Where? It may be, not necessarily for everybody, but for the huge percentage of the population, especially the lowest income, fixed income beneficiaries, seniors, people with disabilities, it is absolutely a situation. And it is not just like, we're having a hard time paying for the discretionaries. No, it is definitely an affordability crisis that is hammering down on a lot of people that are living on a fixed income, and it is not a pretty scenario that we are dealing with right now, because a lot of people are really, really struggling financially. And again, this continues to show, and every year that goes by where nothing is done about this, the gap continues to widen, and we're seeing more and more struggle across the board. Well, anyway, long story short here, what I basically did is took that $1,400 make-up proposal out of the Senior Citizens League, which I love. It's a really good idea. I really, really like this one. Just a one-off, a catch-up, a make-up payment distributed only to Social Security beneficiaries. But basically what I said is, hey, rather than doing $1,400, let's do $2,000 to $2,500, because that's where we're at right now because of all of this affordability situation and prices rising on everything that we all recognize, especially those things that beneficiaries are spending the bulk of their money on. Let's just increase the dollar amount. Let's not take it out of the trust fund, but rather pay it out of general federal funds. And let's get this money distributed to beneficiaries immediately so we can get on, live our lives. Again, pay for the medical, pay for the prescriptions, pay for the premiums, pay for the housing, the utilities, the food, the insurance, and everything else that's needed out there from all of these beneficiaries. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. Drop a comment down below. Let me know, do you like this? Is it good? Is there anything you want me to change on this? Where are we at right now? What do you think? Drop your feedback down below. I don't mind, by the way. If you love it, let me know. If you hate it, let me know, okay? Totally fine, okay? I'm here for you, to represent, to advocate for you in any way that I possibly can. I appreciate you watching this video. Please, if you have not done so, consider subscribing, 100% free. Big subscribe button down below. Please share the video, big share button down below. Otherwise, check out the other 6,000 plus videos here on the channel in the video library. Until next time, please have a nice day. Thanks for your feedback, and I look forward to reading your comments. Otherwise, have a good one.